Hey everybody, it's Caitlin from PAREdown. Happy New Year! It's January 2017 and I thought that a perfect video for today would be to reflect on what I feel is one of the biggest lessons that I have not learned yet. We are entering our 4th year of trying to reduce our carbon footprint through living more mindfully, more purposefully, making our consumer choices with a conscious mind, and attempting to eliminate waste and essentially live zero waste, or as close to zero waste as possible. So yeah, I've learned a lot over the last 3 years, but there seems to be a big mental block in terms of gift giving, where my children are concerned. And even as I am talking to you right now, I know that the lesson is it's not in there completely. And that's frustrating. And I know that it's probably because we live in a society and a culture that values stuff, and that we're marketed to on a daily basis to, I don't know, to feel the need to have X, Y, and Z to feel relevant or to feel current, or yeah, I don't know. Anyways, the lessons for me are around thoughtfulness with gifts and extravagance. I don't feel that I have learned that. And thoughtfulness, I mean in the sense that I realized, or I recognized through a series of events this past Christmas, that I was buying gifts or looking for gifts to buy my children just for the sake of getting a gift. That there was no real intention behind that gift. And yeah, our family only gives like physical gifts to the children, and I would say for the most part that's how we lived prior to zero waste. Since zero waste, where we have changed in terms of gift giving is that we have tried to tone down the number of gifts. We don't wrap the gifts. The gifts are purchased secondhand. Well, they're wrapped, but in a gift sack, not with traditional paper, ribbons, bows. And that, celebrations are toned down in terms of, decor, and even the food and just the overall extravagance of the celebrations have been toned down. And I would say that in every way we have felt the benefits of this, and because the extravagance and the decor and all of that, they're not the things that you remember, and they are the things that can cause a lot of stress. So I think that just having a very relaxed approach to celebrations has really helped us to enjoy the celebrations, and that is something that I know we will pass on to our children. So with all that being said, I guess now I'll share with you where I feel I haven't learned. And so yes, we give our kids secondhand gifts, and yes, they are not packaged and they are not wrapped in a traditional sense. But what I noticed this past Christmas is that I feel that I am compensating for the fact that our kids' gifts perhaps don't look like their friends' gifts. So I know in today's world that most kids probably get more than one gift from mom and dad and more than one gift from Santa, or at least that's what I tell myself. And so my kids are only getting one gift, and it's secondhand and it's not wrapped. And so I have found myself buying more and jamming it in that sack. So my son, I found him, for example, Transformers, some secondhand Transformers. And if I was buying them new, I probably would have bought 2. But they were secondhand, and so I justified it by price. Like, well, I could get 4 for this price of 2, and the guy was selling 4, so I might as well buy all of them. So I bought him 4 Transformers. And for my daughter, I bought a Littlest Pet Shop set, and it was probably actually 4 or 5 sets. I really have no idea. I know that it was significantly more than 1 or 2 sets for $40. And again, I justified the quantity. So the mom was sort of selling these as 2 separate sets, which were, if they were brand new, were probably 4 or even 6 sets total. And I thought, well, she's selling them for only $20 each, I'll just buy both. So my daughter got the equivalent of like 5 or 6 sets of Littlest Pet Shop as one gift, because it was secondhand. And I justify it because, to myself, because I'm thinking, well, they're only getting 1 gift from Santa, and it's secondhand and it only costs this much. So I'm completely losing the lesson, the lesson was lost on me at that time. And we had decided to start to really try and give experiences instead of gifts from us. So we had decided to give our children an overnight stay with us at Great Wolf Lodge. Now, for anybody who's not familiar with Great Wolf Lodge, it's sort of this themed hotel geared towards families. And from what I understand, it's completely kid-centered, but in a way that allows for parents to get a bit of a break. There's tons of activities that you could sign your kids up to put them in. And then there, on top of that, I think there's like 3 or 4 restaurants, and I think something like 7 swimming pools. I might be wrong. We haven't been yet. Water slides, and then all of these sort of Disney style dress-up characters that are just sort of there to entertain. It's quite expensive, and again, I justified it to myself by saying, well, we're not giving a physical gift, it's an experience. We're only living in Toronto for 1 year, so the chances that we're gonna go if we don't go now or never, blah, 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 blah. So in addition to the experience from mom and dad, the extravagant gift from Santa, the only other thing that we were giving our children was a stocking. And stockings for me growing up consisted of some treats, usually some necessities if you needed, depending on your age, socks, underwear, deodorant, toothbrush, stuff like that. And perhaps a comic book, a magazine, whatever. And so basically that's what I do with stockings. And my son, what I had in his stocking was a small gift. It was a $5 secondhand baseball glove that I found, some socks, and some chocolates. And similar for my daughter, a little secondhand Christmas outfit, 2 little My Little Ponies I found secondhand, and some treats. Now, before Christmas, my kids found these gifts because I'm a bad mommy who didn't hide them very well, and I knew they weren't hidden very well, and I kept saying to myself, you should go hide those better. Anyways, so I didn't know what to do because these gifts were from Santa. Not the end of the world, but yeah, I didn't want to have to go out and buy new stuff or whatever. So anyways, I just decided that their stockings would have a little bit less in them, and that the My Little Pony and the baseball glove would be a gift from Mom and Papa in addition to the experience. The lesson for me really hit home on Christmas morning when their favorite gifts, in particular my daughter with the My Little Ponies, she was thrilled. She preferred them to the Littlest Pet Shop, and she's played with them nonstop. She's already brought them to school to show her friends, and it was enough. And I think simply based on price and the fact that it wasn't new, I felt that it wasn't enough. So we have called Great Wolf Lodge, and we can't cancel our trip, but we've postponed it. Maybe we'll do it for birthdays or something. We haven't figured that out. But yeah, what an expensive lesson for us to learn. And not to say that giving the experience was bad, but at the ages they're at, it was such an expensive experience to give, and it was so unnecessary. The gift that brought the most joy cost the least. And the other lesson that I learned was that, you know, in thoughtfulness to the gifts. Yes, my son likes the Transformers, he likes the baseball glove, my daughter likes the pet shop, she likes the ponies, but I was so caught up in having to find a gift that I wasn't really thinking about the gift. In my mind, it just had to be something age appropriate, and I wanted it to be something that they were familiar with. So, you know, something from a show that they watched, or a toy that they'd seen before and perhaps had expressed interest in. Aside from that, I didn't really put much thought into the gift. And after I'd purchased my Christmas gifts, I was out at a Christmas fair with a friend, and she doesn't live zero waste, but you know, what I learned from her is that she's a lot more dialed in to the thoughtfulness of gift giving than I was. And we were in a little store, and they had for sale these sort of, not homemade, but you know, locally made, maybe homemade mice, fabric mice, and they're about this big, and they're all wearing different little outfits and had different accessories in their hair. You could just tell that a lot of thought and care had gone into the design and make of these mice, and each mouse had a different home. And there was like a mouse house, but that was extravagant and expensive, but a lot of them came with these little cigar box houses, and the cigar boxes had been wallpapered and lacquered and painted, and they had little handmade blankets and pillows and things in them, and there was no packaging, there was no plastic, and they were such a thoughtful gift. Like, I could see myself as a little kid having hours of sort of imaginary fun with a gift like that. And she bought this for her daughter, who's the same age as mine, and I was so envious. But I'd already bought my gifts, and I started thinking, well, what can I do with my gifts, because I really want to buy these gifts. And I stopped myself because I thought, well, that's silly. But yeah, I was definitely envious of her ability to pause in gift giving and sort of, you know, ponder and, you know, reflect on each item that she looked at. And I think she went to 2 or 3 different Christmas fairs, and yeah, and I asked her when she bought this, you know, is this going to be it? She's like, well, yeah. She's like, you know, well, what more does, you know, a 3.5 or 4-year-old little girl really need? And I was just like, wow. And I realized that I hadn't gotten it yet, that this was the universe sort of presenting a learning opportunity to me. So yeah, that's my video for today, about pausing and making thoughtful choices when it comes to gifts, and not rushing and getting gifts for the sake of gifts. And I think we do that because we live in a very fast-paced society, and we just want to get it done, and that's just sort of like how we operate. And I want to really be mindful of not operating like that in the future. And just about the other lesson is just about the sheer extravagance, and learning that more is not more, and that the price tag should not, you know, factor in to the gift. You know, if it's a $5 gift and it's perfect, then that is enough. I really hope that I get this year. I may do an update video after, you know, birthdays or something, because yeah, this is, I think, going to be my focus for 2017, to dial down the extravagance even further and to be more mindful and thoughtful in terms of the gifts that I do give. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you've had similar experiences, or if you've got any, you know, tips that you can share with me on how to keep yourself on track in this regard, please share them in the comments below. And yeah, subscribe below for more videos, and let me know if there's a topic that you want to hear about from me. All right, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.